Okay, here we have the Freelander, the Land Rover Freelander. There's been quite a few different types of these coming out over the past few years. Now, obviously this vehicle is in a completely different category to that of the Range Rover and the Land Rover. In many places this vehicle has been nicknamed with derogatory names because it is a bit of a namby-pamby version, to be quite fair. Right, well, I suppose appearance-wise it doesn't look too bad, and even on the interior it's not a bad-looking vehicle. It feels like a vehicle you could get pretty muddy in and it wouldn't really do any damage. It's obviously a workhorse. The dials on the Speedo cluster, I would say they're actually pretty difficult to read and rather confusing, and I wonder why a company which has been making vehicles for so long can't get something simple like that right. The wing mirrors are large and they're in a good position, maybe a little bit low. Rear vision, same old story, blocked by or obstructed by the rear seats headrests. Another thing that shouldn't be a problem in this day and age. If someone's sitting in the car, why don't the headrests immediately recede into some crevice? At least you can look out the window. A lot of noise coming from the car, inside and out. You can hear the wind, very much so. The engine, well, it's not really a powerful engine, to be fair. I wouldn't be overly confident towing anything on this. Nothing of any significant weight anyway. I wouldn't tow anything heavier than the vehicle, put it that way. The automatic transmission, I have to say, I think is absolutely awful. I think if you're going to be picking up one of these, you want to do everything in your power to stay away from the automatic transmission. It just makes a lot of noise and it just doesn't really go anywhere. And the gear changes, well, they're bloody awful, to be fair. You can hear a lot more noise now. This car really isn't very comfortable. It's not something that's really enjoyable to drive. Bounces around a lot. It's very floaty. Shock absorbers. Slightest movement of the steering wheel and the car bounces all over the place, and it's really boating bad. You know, for what this vehicle portends to be, I wonder why it goes down the road like a lump of jelly. It's dreadful. The general instrumentation on the center console is very basic, looks pretty hard wearing. The brakes themselves are surprisingly very good. They're nice and spongy with regards to the application of increased pressure of the brakes on a gradient. There's no grabbiness at all. Definitely the best feature of this vehicle, as far as I'm concerned, is the brakes. If I accelerate now, I just hear a lot of noise from the engine and the car doesn't seem to go anywhere. If you're looking at buying one of these, stick to a manual. They're far superior, and the bigger engine you get, I think the better a ride you're going to get too. And if there is the potential to go for upgraded shocks, something a little bit sportier, a bit more rigid, you'd be well advised to do so, because this is so spongy. It would be embarrassing and dangerously easy to get this vehicle out of control, and obviously nobody wants to be into that at all. This is probably the worst example of a Freelander I've come across. This particular model, I would have to say, if you're able to take any advice, stay away from this one. It's a bit of a white elephant.